into, and it's Floyd Tire. And I just wanted to say, small businesses are big for us everywhere we go. And that's one of the reasons why I support Tara Orlando, why I have been with her this whole time, because she understands how we feel about small businesses, and she is right here, working every day, visiting everyone and talking to them. Which is why today I am pleased to bring back Tara Orlando.
Thank you very much. I also want to thank Floyd Tire for hosting this town hall here in Floyd, our first one in our region. Hopefully the first of several. Thank you all for being here. Many want to know, why am I running for office? Well, I'm running for office for several reasons. I'm very concerned about our environment. I'm very concerned about our quality of life here in this region. And I'm also very concerned about many other things, including our education, our infrastructure, and our transportation issues. So my purpose is to hear what you have to say, listen to your questions, and try to find solutions. We have had many issues in our region, including a pipeline that was supposed to come through Floyd, and we were fortunate enough to get rid of it and not have it come through Floyd, but our neighbors have had this problem, and we need to address it. That needs to stop, and it should have never happened to start with. So with that said, I'll open it for you to go ahead and ask me whatever you'd like to ask.
Myself and a lot of my friends are really excited about your candidacy. We really appreciate your taking on the difficulties of running for office for House of Delegates for the 7th District. We're interested in transportation, particularly public transportation. That includes everything from public buses to the potential for passenger rail and freight to get a lot of the traffic off of 81. We're wondering if you had any ideas about how to go about doing that for the 7th District.
Absolutely. I know that in Montgomery County they've been trying to expand the railroad to have it head in that direction, and also expanding bus routes. I feel we're moving into the 21st century, and we need to create a system that might be like electric trolleys or something, so that we can link the New River Valley areas all together. I feel that that would have an impact on our issues here with traffic. If we had mass transportation bringing people here, letting them come shop around and get back on their bus and head back to where they came from, that way we won't have so much traffic to deal with in our small town that only has one stoplight. It creates quite the bottleneck, but we would like to invite the tourists to come and shop and experience what we're all about, because this is truly a destination for many tourists in our region. But so we want to make this easier for them to come. It's also hard to find parking, so that would be also a solution. If we had the mass transit available, that would get rid of that issue as well. Thank you for that question.
Sure.
Hello. As a citizen of this area, I'm very curious to know what you're thinking in terms of what you can do to expand healthcare access here. I know there's a lot of people who are really in a lot of need, and I'd like to know what plans you might have to make sure that people here can get access to the quality care, that people in Northern Virginia or other urban areas, they get good quality care. And there's some availability here, but in terms of rural hospitals and making sure that that funding is available across every part of the state.
Excellent question. Thank you very much for that. Yes, healthcare is a tremendous issue on my platform. I am very concerned with how our system is working. For us being supposed to be a world superpower, we have a pretty crappy health system going on here. I, for example, have an issue that I fell on ice and I landed on my back in January, on the 8th of January to be exact. And the very next day, I was in horrible, excruciating pain. The very next day, I went to my doctor and she requested an MRI and said that I should also go through physical therapy. So the x-ray that was done on the night of the accident at Med Express in Christiansburg said that there was no break in my shoulder. So therefore physical therapy would have been the proper thing to do. Being in agony for 8 weeks to let me have the MRI. MRI showed that my shoulder is broken. And right now, this should not happen to anybody 8 weeks, 10 weeks now after the accident. So no, I have a big issue with our healthcare system. It is wrong. I spoke to some of our constituents in our region who said that he had a heart attack and went to the hospital, and his bills were almost $200,000. He had paid off his home. He's an elderly man. He and his wife they had just paid off their home like 5 years prior. He had to get a second mortgage to be able to fund the cost of his hospital care because his insurance wouldn't cover all of it. I mean, this is ridiculous. Healthcare is a right. It is not a privilege. And everybody should have access to the same health care. We pay with our tax dollars, and why should Congress and senators have premium health care on our dime and we don't get anything like that? That is wrong. Too many people are suffering that should not be suffering. This needs to stop. And we need to go to either universal health care or health care for all. But this has to change. We have to find a solution.
Hi, I was interested in knowing your opinion on the recent marijuana legislation and how that will affect jobs in Virginia.
Excellent question. Yes, I'm very excited to hear about this marijuana legislation that was just passed, that on July 1st, it's not going to be considered as bad as it has been. There'll be some relief. You can grow some plants, and you can, I feel marijuana is it's a plant that's Creator put here on the earth for a purpose, and it is a medicinal plant. Folks that suffer from glaucoma get tremendous relief with their eyesight. It helps them to not lose their eyesight. My mother, she was experiencing cancer and was in really bad shape. She was just a bag of skin and bones. This is back in the early 90s, and she was very concerned about her life. She was losing her life. And I said, Mom, you need to smoke some pot or something so that you can keep some food in you, because she was not able to keep any food in her system. And she goes, Tara, that's illegal. I can't do that. And so 2 more weeks later, and she's still losing weight. Finally got her to agree to, I found some marijuana for her. At that time I was living in Florida. And she agreed to eat a little bit. So I made a spaghetti sauce and I put it in there as you would oregano. And that caused her to actually keep the food in. She didn't throw up, and it helped her appetite to grow, so she was able to gain weight and had 2 more beautiful years of life that we got to spend together. I'm very happy to hear that this plant is finally getting off the schedule that it's been on. Thank you very much for that question. As far as how jobs are going to be impacted, marijuana plants, the hemp production and the medicinal production, all those will create jobs throughout our region, and many are already poised and ready to go ahead and take advantage of this opportunity. This is something that I believe in our rural region is going to be extremely positive and beneficial. Thank you for that question.
I understand that it's a pretty common complaint here in the 7th District, particularly Floyd County, that some of the roads don't have enough adequate attention for signage or lines on the road and the conditions of the roads. I was wondering if there was anything you could do as a delegate to help with that.
Thank you for that question. As a delegate, what I can do about that's VDOT's doing. And what I can do is help to see about getting a grant or funds to be able, so that they can do their job. Our roads are in dire need of help. We have too many potholes. I myself, just this past year, ran over a pothole that punctured the wheel. I mean, it bent the wheel. And I mean, this is ridiculous. What are our tax dollars going for here? We need to see our tax dollars going for the people that live in our region. Our roads are shambled. This is a shame. It should not be this way. Thank you for that question.
Hi, I was wondering what your thoughts were on the lack of green boxes and your plans for waste management.
Thank you very much. That is something that I have been discussing with my neighbors and speaking with other folks that live in the region. For example, in Indian Valley, it's a pretty good chunk of land, a region, there's a lot of homes there. There's only 1 green box for everybody that lives in the location of Indian Valley. You have to drive 10, 15 miles to get to the nearest green box. I just spoke to a lady from Pilot who said that they also are having a problem with green box not being available to them. What I think I'd like to do as a delegate is to see about getting a grant and putting recycling facilities at each of the communities in the Little River District, in Indian Valley, in Pilot, in Czech, in Willis, where people can bring their trash, their compost, their trash, whatever, their recyclables, and create jobs from this with upcycling them, having them be available for sale, and also people can come and purchase the compost to put in their gardens. I can see this as being very lucrative for our region, and as a delegate I will fight to get grants to make this happen. Thank you for that question. Any more questions? Well, thank you all very much for coming. I really appreciate you taking time to hear this conversation. Please tell your friends about it. If you want to know more about the campaign, go to taraorlando.com. Voting for the primaries is going to be on the 8th of June. Please be there or be square and grab all your neighbors and tell them to vote for Tara Orlando. I'm on your side. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to be able to be your voice. Thank you for your time. Thank you.